what is data engineering? Is there an element of data engineering involved in election process also?
Can you tell me what is the difference between right to vote and freedom to vote? Which of these is considered a fundamental right?
Probability of any event taking place, can it be zero?
Are you aware of the strategic petroleum reserves in India?
Do you understand safe harbor protection in terms of IT rule?
Come in, sir.
Come in. Good morning. Have a seat.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am.
Introduce yourself.
Sir, my name is Smriti Anand. I am born and brought up in Patna, Bihar. And I did my graduation, BTech in Information Technology from NIT Durgapur. After my graduation, I worked as a data engineer in PwC India. Subsequently, I joined the Bihar State Civil Services and I'm currently working in the election department. This is my third attempt and second interview.
So this is your first posting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you handle elections well?
Sir, I tried to.
You have worked as data engineer also in PwC for more than 2 years, I think.
Yes, sir.
Or almost less than 2 years. So what is data engineering? And is there an element of data engineering involved in election process also?
So data engineering is basically the design of tools and systems that are involved in data collection, data storage, data analysis and data processing. As far as, sir, elections are concerned, right now, these days, because everything happens online, so there is a very big portion of data engineering. For example, the overarching software that the electoral registration officers are using is the ECInet, and which has ERONet as a component. So there is a dashboard and everything, right from the number of forms that we are getting for insertion of names for deletion or modification, everything is shown to the EROs and accordingly they take action. For example, sir, people know that in a certain, for their own particular assembly constituency, they know about, they have an idea about the average number of forms that might come up for deletion, let's say within 3 months. But sometimes when a large number of forms are coming, there is a spike, there is an anomaly, so that is an outlier. That is always brought to the notice of the EROs with the help of data engineering only. So they can check, they can go and they can ask their AEROs or their BLOs to have a proper check that if some kind of activity is going on, that people's name are, for example, it happened in Karnataka where there was a criminal activity where people's names were deliberately getting deleted from the roll. So that because of the ECInet has that data engineering component, only then it was people were able to find out.
Algorithm, and are we using algorithm also in election process?
Sir, algorithm is basically it is a code. Certain inputs are given and certain output we get. Algorithms in data, so we use, so while we do not use any black box algorithm because ECI focuses on transparency, but we do use coding. For example, if somebody has filed their nomination to contest an election, so their entire affidavit, their criminal antecedents, etc., they are available for public view after the scrutiny process. So,
okay, in general administration, for the convenience of people, what could be different applications of algorithm to improve governance?
Sir, if we take on a case-by-case basis, I can say with examples. Sir, for example, if in any pension scheme, it comes to the notice of a district magistrate that certain block is underperforming. So if we can give them the cause, for example, if the cause is because of issues in Aadhaar authentication, that is why a number of bank linkages are failing and people are not getting their pension. So we can then get, we have coordination meetings, so we can get the BDOs of that place, the bank managers, and the CSCs, so to ensure proper linkages. Or in case of PDS, if the grain uptake is low in certain blocks, then we can find out the issue, and accordingly we can go for alternative methods. We can go for physical verification if the Aadhaar is failing. So technology, sir, it identifies the bottlenecks. Ultimately, it is up to the administration to rectify
Okay, my last
them.
question, Smriti. How many women have been elected this time in Bihar Assembly?
Sir, I'm not aware of the exact number.
Smriti, you are working with the Election Commission of Bihar, right?
Yes, sir.
It's State Election Commission?
No, sir. I'm appointed by the Office of Chief Electoral Officer of Bihar. We are mainly involved in the general elections to the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha only.
Okay. Right. Can you tell me what is the difference between right to vote and freedom to vote? Which of these is considered a fundamental right?
The right to vote is not a fundamental right,
Okay.
because we do people who have,
Is it a constitutional right or is it a statutory right?
Sir, as per Article 326, every person who is greater than 18 years of age, they have the right to vote, but it is
Correct.
not a fundamental right, sir.
Okay. And what about freedom to vote?
So
Is
freedom,
it derived from any fundamental right?
sir, I'm not aware if it is derived from any fundamental right, but freedom to vote, sir, is if we are giving them a conducive environment in which they can exercise their right to vote freely without any coercion.
Okay. Can you tell me which Chief Election Commissioner of India is famous for this remark, I eat politicians for breakfast?
Sir, on late TN Session, sir.
Correct. But Election Commission of India has come under spotlight for the wrong reasons in recent times. So there was a very landmark case recently, Anup Barnwal case. I hope you are aware of that. So in that, the Supreme Court suggested a committee which should recommend names for appointment of Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners, right? And the committee's composition was Prime Minister, CJI and the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha. Then the government came up with a law and it changed the composition. The CJI was replaced by a union minister nominated by the Prime Minister. Now you tell me, which of these committees look more transparent and fair to you?
Sir, I believe the system that was proposed by the Supreme Court, that looked more transparent, because it had three people who represented the three pillars of our democracy: the legislature, the
But there
executive, and judiciary.
there was a fundamental issue also with that committee's composition, which was suggested by Supreme Court. Can you highlight what was the fundamental issue? Why the presence of CJI was also a little bit problematic?
So, because the election petitions that are filed, they go to High Court, and then finally Supreme Court has the final authority. So, the presence of CJI can.
Yes. Okay. Now let's talk about international relations. So recently we have seen US committing an act which has actually created a lot of concern about how relations between states would be considered from now onwards, right? So a president of a country has been captured from that country, right? And can you tell me the name of that operation which the US has done in Venezuela?
I'm also not aware of the
You're
exact
not aware?
name.
Okay, but how do you see it? How it will impact relations between states?
Sir, it is a clear violation of the rules-based international order, and carrying out, basically taking out the president of a sovereign country, and efforts to create a regime change from outside, it definitely sets a bad precedent.
So what is India's stand on this?
India right now has sir, not taken any stand, because we have to maintain relations with both.
So
the
India
US
wants to be a
and-
global power. India wants to be considered as a Vishwa Guru or Vishwa Mitra. But if we keep sidestepping such important issues, don't you think it will not help us in achieving that position that we want to achieve?
Sir, right now we have not condemned this action, but we have time and again said that we are not, we do not side with people who engage in war. We are with the side of peace. So the overarching message from the government of India has always been that we are with the side of peace, and we believe in negotiations and deliberations rather than any war or any transgression.
Okay. My final question to you, Smriti, like in Bihar elections, you must have observed it very closely and must have been part of it, right? So there was a very interesting party, or like two parties with very interesting acronyms. One was VIP and the other was VVIP. Can you explain them?
There's a Vikashsheel Insan Party.
Yes, correct. And VVIP?
Sorry, sir, I'm forgetting.
Thank you.
Smriti, the Strait of the Strait of Taiwan is heating up, both literally as well as figuratively. Can you tell me why?
So literally because I believe because of climate change,
Yes.
and figuratively, sir, we saw a few days back when the Japanese Prime Minister said that any act of aggression on Taiwan, it's detrimental for the national security of Japan, and after which China logged radars on Japanese airships. Russia also got involved. So yeah, there was some tension.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. So currently we are in very turbulent times. Wherever our stretch of sight and stretch of imagination goes, it is indicating only towards a major global conflict unfolding. So you have studied mathematics. I assume that you'll be good at probability. So if you were to create a scenario wherein maybe a third world war is happening and there are parties and counterparties, so how is the combination going to work? Which countries are going to come together and which countries are going to oppose?
So definitely India will be one of those countries who will oppose war on such a large scale. So a World War III, that means a war of that massive scale. Sir, in present times, I don't think, sir, any country would be willing to...
See, you are a student of mathematics, and probability of any event taking place, can it be zero?
No, sir.
There is a
always
possibility.
Yes.
Hence, we take the refuge of mathematics, and you tell me that what is the probable scenario going to be, if at all there is such an event.
Sir, then I believe, sir, two opposing sides. One will definitely be headed by the US
And
and the
another
West.
one by?
And the other ones, I'll say, sir, by an alliance of China and Russia, both of them. And the countries who will be with them might be Iran, Cuba.
Okay. So, in recent times, do you think that India's neighborhood first policy has faltered?
Sir, not as much as faltered as it has come under a little bit of strain, I believe. Because earlier, Maldives had an India out policy, but then the current president of Maldives, he also came and visited India, signed a lot of memorandum of understandings. We also provided a lot of humanitarian and disaster relief aid to Sri Lanka during the cyclone, to the Myanmar during earthquake. We've always had good relations with Bhutan, but with Pakistan, we've always had issues with our ties with them. And currently, after Sheikh Hasina's regime was toppled in Bangladesh, we have had issues, but we are currently watching how the election process is going to unfold, and then we can cooperate with them better, on a better way. And as far as Afghanistan goes, recently the foreign ministers of both our countries met, and we are hopeful of having good relations with the Afghan people as well.
Okay. What are outliers?
The outliers are if we have a data set, then the extremes, those that do not fall within the average category, either the maxima, the minima, those are outliers that do not align with the other numbers.
Okay. So, if we bank on this concept, the definition of outliers that you just provided, and look at the positioning of India in various indices which are released by global agencies, for example, the Press Freedom Index, the indices that talk about religious freedom, the levels of tolerance and intolerance in India. Do you think that these indices reflect true scenario?
No, sir.
In essence, they are based maybe on the outlier events?
Sir, the way they calculate their index, it's based on, because most of these institutions are Western institutions, they have their own methodology of working. So they might be just pointing out one of those the outlier events that you mentioned. They do not see the historical and the overall constitutional scheme of India.
Okay. Smriti, my last question to you. What is a black swan event?
Sir, a black swan event like COVID was that is that cannot be foreseen, and that creates massive disruptions on economic, political, or social scale.
Thank you.
Smriti, are you aware of the concept or the term petrodollar?
Yes, ma'am, to some extent, I believe.
Okay. Would you like to take an educated guess?
Yes, ma'am. Petrodollar is, ma'am, the large amount of foreign exchange earnings that the countries who have massive oil reserves gain by exporting crude oil.
The countries gain by exporting crude oil. Okay, are you sure?
No, I'm not sure.
No problem. Are you aware of the strategic petroleum reserves in India?
Yes, ma'am. We store in underground caverns, etc., on both the eastern and the western coast of India.
Can you name some locations?
I believe two are in Andhra Pradesh. I don't know the exact location.
All right. Did you see any use of artificial intelligence in the Bihar elections?
Ma'am, not exactly artificial intelligence, but again, data engineering, which is data engineering and prediction. Yes, ma'am.
In what forms?
Ma'am, we before any elections, we map the critical and vulnerable polling stations.
Okay.
So this time we were asked to feed the data of VTR, the voter turnout, and if there was any repoll, etc., in previous elections. And accordingly, the software itself provided us with a list of polling stations that might be considered vulnerable and critical. But afterwards, it was the decision of the returning officer to find.
And then what would you do at those polling stations that turn out to be vulnerable?
Ma'am, extra CAPF is given, webcasting is ensured, and the sector officers are there. They go and always do trust-based exercises with people and make sure that they have the freedom to vote.
Okay, there were talks about 100% webcasting at the polling stations. Did that happen?
Yes, ma'am. Even in those places, for example, in my own, we had 2 assembly constituencies in my district. In one where there was no internet connection, it was a rather hilly area. There also we provided cameras, and the entire thing was recorded, and then it was given to the CEO Bihar.
All right. Why is 1996 a landmark year in electoral reforms?
1996. No, I'm not sure.
Okay, 2010. Okay, what is ECI Net?
ECI Net, ma'am, is the one software that ECI used in this election only, and that it has all the election-related applications, be it ERO Net, be it CVigil, anything.
All right. You have also you have won a competition on organ donation.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Can you tell me which organs cannot be donated?
Brain cannot be donated.
Why so?
Ma'am, because brain is connected to the entire body with millions of nerves, and we can't just cut
We cannot
them
transplant. So no brain transplantation has happened. All right. And you also like to do Kathak.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is the difference between Kathak and Kathakali, if you're aware?
Ma'am, if firstly we'll talk about geographical location, then Kathak is a dance that was prominent in North India, Kathakali mostly in Kerala, but we can say South India. These two dances also differ if we talk about the positions of body. Kathak is a dance that is always carried out with a straight body. On the other hand, Kathakali, we have bent legs. Kathak is more tabla and pakhavaj based dance. Kathakali, on the other hand, sarangi, etc.
Okay, can you name some famous Kathak dancers?
Pandit Birju Maharaj, Achan Maharaj, the Puru Dadhij.
Okay. My last question to you is there were some issues with Grok AI, privacy issues. Are you aware of the controversy? MeitY asked to regulate Grok AI.
No.
Right. Thank you, Smriti.
Carrying on from ma'am's question, Smriti, do you understand safe harbor protection in terms of IT rules?
Yes, ma'am.
Please explain.
It is given to the social media intermediaries, ma'am. Social media intermediaries like X, Facebook, they host a lot of content. But they cannot be sued for that content if it is in violation of the rule of law. If they comply with the newly brought IT rules of 2021, if the government of India asks them to take it down within a stipulated time frame.
All right. Can you now have some sense, can you recall about what ma'am was probably asking you, regulating Grok?
Ma'am, I have read. I don't know.
That's
I
okay.
don't remember the exact issue.
That's absolutely okay. No problem. You have studied maths and you are a sub-election officer. Can you tell me the role of mathematics in the exit poll surveys?
I believe exit poll surveys are, because it is conducted on a very small small sample set, so they do not capture the actual realities, and that happens when with any mathematical model. If we do not feed it the correct data, the result will always be biased.
So you're telling me that mathematical models are likely to fail in predicting social design rather than natural phenomena.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, more likely to fail. Okay, what do you understand by the first past the post system?
Ma'am, it is basically if let's say 100 votes were given, whoever has the maximum vote, if somebody has 51 and the other party has 49, so the person getting 51 votes will be considered.
All right.
as the winner.
And what are its implication in terms of seats vis-a-vis vote, vis-a-vis proportional representation?
So, ma'am, 51. If some basically those people who voted for those 49 people who voted for the other person, their in first past the post system, their votes do not carry that significance. On the other hand, if let's say in proportional representation, somebody got the votes that they get seats also in that proportion. For example, somebody got 60 and the other two parties got 20. So, and if there are, let's say, 10 seats, so the first person will get 6, and the rest 2 will get 2 each.
So you're telling me that first past the post system is based on a majority of votes?
Whoever gets the maximum number of votes.
Maximum number of votes. Okay, that's okay. You have worked. You've probably worked on a stage play competition that was centered around elderly issues. What do you understand by silver economy?
Silver economy, ma'am, is if we are providing goods and services that are more targeted for the senior citizens. For example, if there is an old age home, the devices, the assisted living devices, etc.
And what is the need for it?
Because, ma'am, by 2050, more than 20% of our population will be over 60 years of age. So to have them, and our directive principles of state policy also ask us to ensure that in case of old age, we provide all the facilities to ensure their standard of living.
All right. Smriti, you like watching cricket.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me, who was the Wisden's female cricketer of 2025?
I believe Smriti Mandhana.
Okay. Do you understand what Wisden is?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So about Smriti Mandhana, recently she was in news for various, of course she is a huge achiever, but she was in news for various other reasons, her personal life and so on, body shaming and all. What is the role of media in promoting cricket or in actually promoting the personal lives of cricketers instead of focusing on what they are famous for?
Ma'am, for some cricketers, be it male or be it female, because their stature has grown so much in our country that media, not just in their professional life, but media has become very intrusive in their personal life also, particularly because of social media and the reels, the influencers, they are all collaborating with them also. So the line between their professional and personal life has become a little blurred.
All right. My final question to you is, you discussed about the US attack on Venezuela and the capture of Mr. Maduro. Can you name a couple of other country heads or leaders who have been captured by the US?
One was in Panama, and US was also responsible for the overthrow of Saddam Hussein's government in Iraq or Gaddafi's in Libya.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Smriti, you have lived more than 4 years in Durgapur, West Bengal,
Yes, sir.
and worked also in Kolkata as part of PwC worker.
So my office was based there but I was working from home only because of COVID at that point.
Okay. So have you picked up a little bit of Bangla language?
Sir, I believe I can understand in bits and pieces, can't speak.
Okay. So West Bengal is going for elections this year.
Yes, sir.
What is your assessment? What is likely to happen there?
Sir, I can't assess what is going to happen, but I do believe that the SIR process that is being carried out, that will definitely lead to a cleaning up of roles and much more transparency in the elections.
There is a big issue of illegal migration from other countries like Bangladesh and Myanmar. Recently, government has also enacted a new law, Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025, and notified recently on 1st September 25, which means that government has a clear intention to use this new law. Okay, so what is your understanding? Whether these illegal migrants have any rights enshrined in the constitution?
So definitely no right to vote, because
Of course, no right to vote. But what are the rights available to non-citizens of India? What are the fundamental rights?
fundamental rights. So, for example, sir, Article 17 is there, the abolition of the untouchability. That is, even for a foreigner, we can't practice that. Or they also have the freedom of religion in Article 24 to 26.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about right to life and liberty?
Yes, sir. They also have right to life.
And if a foreigner comes in India without permission, can any police officer arrest him or her without warrant?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Okay. So, large number of migrants have settled in Bihar also. Bangladeshi migrants, particularly in the bordering districts of West Bengal, Kishanganj and Katihar and this kind of thing. In Jharkhand also, large number of illegal migrants from Bangladesh has settled. So, do you see that this issue can influence national politics in coming years?
Sir, it has influenced a lot of our politics, and it will continue to do so, because it is primarily because of that right to vote thing, sir, that comes in picture. Be not just Bangladeshi illegal migrants, Bihar also has a problem of Nepali people who are settling in the areas of Champaran, etc. So yes, sir, it is going to be an issue. So that's why, sir, it is very important to have pure electoral rolls.
Okay. My last question. PwC was in controversy a few years ago. It's an old news now. Are you aware what was the controversy?
Yes, sir. So I believe it was a 2020 Kerala gold smuggling case, where large amount of gold was recovered in a diplomatic bag, and the main accused was Swapna Suresh, who was a contractual employee of PwC working with the Kerala government.
Okay. Fine, Smriti. Your interview is over. You may go now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. May I come in, sir?
Come in. Have your seat.
Thank you, sir.
So you are already experienced aspirant. You are administrator. You appeared in interview also 23.
Yes, sir.
What happened then? Not got good score.
No, sir. Very bad.
How much?
160.
No, 160 is a respectable pass. So, could you identify the reasons for less than expected marks?
So my interview was, sir, more on the factual side. And ma'am, Suman Sharma ma'am, in the beginning, she asked me about semiconductors, the working. I didn't think I could answer it very well, and afterwards I just, even the answers I knew I could not answer them.
Okay.
I didn't answer them very
Anxiety management. See, today your performance here was very good. Everybody is very happy with your performance. Maybe after you have joined the government service, your confidence level has become better. You are at ease while you are communicating to us. We did not see any sense of anxiety, even if different questions, some questions you couldn't answer. Mostly factual questions you answered well. That most of the questions were analytical in nature. Perhaps you are not aware of the Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025.
Yes.
Okay, you should read that. First past the post question could have been answered better, more crisp to the point, maybe with suitable examples. And answer of right to vote is correct. It's a constitutional right. Freedom to vote is derived from Article 19, right to freedom of assembly and association, 19(1)(a). But they can ask more searching questions about voting practices. So you have got good enough time, more than 10 days. So you may read further. And There could be more question from your data engineering thing, maybe more technical questions. So be ready for that. And Durgapur is also emerging as an education hub. So maybe they can go into that dimension, education related question. You should be ready with that also. Other things are very good. I hope that you are not wearing this kind of dress.
No, sir. I'll wear a sari.
That's better. And sitting posture is good. Communication skill is very good. Demeanor is very decent. Dignified presence. So all these things are very good. Hope this time you reach beyond 180. Okay. That's it from our side. If you have a specific question, you can ask.
Yes.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.